Hi guys, DJ Jack back with you here real quick with another video, and it's time for rock music history right here that happened this day in rock music history. This day, April 7th, in 1956, the CBS radio network debates the first regular scheduled national broadcast rock and roll show, Rock and Roll Dance Party, with Alan Freed as host. Also this day, April 7th, Little Richard, Long Tall Sally enters the Billboard Top 100 charts, where it would climb to number 6. This record would top the R&B chart and become the first of his 3 U.S. to top 10 hits. A cover version by Pat Boone appeared on the chart summonlessly and reached 8 on Richard. Would later explain that there really was a long-tailed Sally. She was a found of the family who was always drinking whiskey, eliminating to have a cold, and through 4 would drink hot toddies all day. He described her as a tall and ugly with a just two teeth cocktail. She was having an affair with John when was married to Mary, who they called a fat family funny. And John and Mary would go in fights at the weekends. When he saw her coming, he would duck back into a little alley to avoid her. This day in 1958, Capitol Records officially abandons the sale of 78 RPM singles in the UK, choosing an issue of all new releases of 45 RPM only. This day in 1962, the Rolling Stones began to take shape with Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, my guitarist Brian Jones, and Ealing Jazz Club. Bill Wyman and Charlie Watts came into the picture January of 1963. On this day, April 7, 18 years, Shelley Fabares, who was currently appearing on Mary Stone TV's The Diamond Reed Show, had the #1 song in the U.S. with Johnny Angel at 41 hit in the UK. She was accompanied by Glenn Campbell and Hale Blaine in Darlin' Love. The Bloomers, a backup vocals. His highest charting follow-up would be Johnny Loves Me, which peaked at number 21 on the Billboard charts. This day in 1967, paving the way for what would become FM radio formats in San Francisco, began playing rock and roll albums, cuts indeed of the 45 RP singles. This day in 1970, Hale David Bird was the Academy Award for Best Original Song for Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. From the 1969, the Butch Cassidy at the Sundance Kid. B.G. Thomas' rendition of the song tapped the Billboard 100s for 4 weeks in the previous January. And in 1973, April 7, Diana Ross started a 2-week run on the top Billboard 200 chart with Lady Sings the Blues, selling over 2 million copies in the US and LPs with her first #1 album as solo artist. This day in 1977, Anna Murray sings the Canadian National Anthem, Exhibit Stadium in Toronto, before the Blue Jays play their first Major League Baseball game against the Chicago White Sox. This day in 1978, Warner Records releases For You, the debut album by Prince. It would climb to a high of 160 on the Billboard Top 100, and LP's tapped chart featuring the single Soft and Wet, which only rose to number 92 on the Hot 100, but went to 12 on the Hot Soul Singles chart. This day in 1979, 24-year-old Rocky Lee Jones performs his upcoming single Chuck E. in Love in Saturday Night Live, and the song would raise to 4 on the Billboard chart and help bring Jonas and Grammy for Best News Artist. This day in 1981, The Who's former manager Kit Lambert died after falling down on flight and stairs in the mother's home in London, England, along with his partner Chris Stamp. Lambert joined The Who from 1964 through 19 guided the Who from 1964 to 1967, produced many of their hit albums, including The Who, Sell Out, and Tommy. And Rick James releases his 5th studio album, Street Strongs. It would become the most successful LP, reaching 3 on Billboard charts and 1 on R&B charts. And Giving It to My Baby, the lead from the album, became James's second #1 R&B chart, where it topped the position for 5 weeks, and the following up single, Super Freak, proved even more popular, climbing to 16 on the Billboard 100s. Also this day in 1985, Wham becomes the first Western rock group to play live in China, and the 10-day visit would produce documentary Wham in China, and Foreign 6, which became the 16th best-selling music video cassette for 1985, I meant. And we will be right back with more rock music history for you.